Hi, my name is Joseph, and welcome to Digimon Liberator, the debug portion of the novel portion, or more specifically, Digimon Liberator, debug 5-2, Shinjuku Giant. I mispronounced that. So with this chapter, actually, this might be the chapter with the fewest amount of quotes that I have to share with everyone. With this one, I only have 3, and this picks up from debug 5-1, where we're introduced to 2 new characters, Altea, an AI character who's constructed by Yao. And Teya's in a battle with, I can't pronounce his name, so give me a quick second. I have his name listed right here, Horaji. So I might be mispronouncing that, so forgive me if I am, but I do thank you for your patience. But again, Horaji and Altea are having a battle. And Horaji's Digimon is a Gaizimon who digivolves into Chimeramon, and the special expertise that Horaji focuses on is on composite Digimon, or in other words, Digimon that's comprised of multiple other components of other Digimon. That's composite because they're not just one whole Digimon. They're one whole Digimon made up of, again, other forms of, or other parts of Digimon. Excuse me. While it's Altea's Digimon is well, their evolved form was in Vizimon, but what was their rookie form? Fortunately, off the top of my head, I can't recall, but we'll get to that when we get to that. The first quote that I want to look at is this aurora, I suppose it's heightened by us being in the city and it being night. Exactly, atmospheric, isn't it? This is Altea speaking with Horaji. Altea had only murmured, but Horaji responded and gave him a beaming look, mostly obstructed by his mop-like hair. It's impressive that you understand the atmosphere. Although given all the effort Yao put into you, I shouldn't be surprised. I see now. You went out of your way to adjust the time settings to enhance this battle cinematic flair. Yep, not a bad call, right? Kuboy also said it would be fascinating. Apparently Horaji had not caught on to Kuboy's habit of claiming to be fascinated when actually at a loss. The truth might be a little... Excuse me, everyone, that was my cat. She knocked over a bottle. Let me continue. To be fascinated when actually at a loss, the truth might be a little painful for him, so Altea held his tongue. Such emotional sensitivity was proof of him being a truly cutting-edge AI. So right off the bat, excuse me for that noise in the background, but also pardon me for forgetting Altea's rookie partner Digimon. It's Epsimon. I don't know how I forgot that, so pardon me. Again, I usually record these early in the morning. Well, not too early in the morning, but yeah, so obviously I need a bit more caffeine in my system. And unfortunately, I don't drink any caffeine, so that's working against me, isn't it? So I do thank everyone for your patience. Anywho, what I liked about this little passage is it's twofold. I like it because we get a little bit more about Kuboy, a little bit more as in the reader finds out some more information, some more characterization about Kuboy. But we also get some more characterization about Altea as well. We see that despite Altea being a robot, being an AI, being non-organic, we see that we see that Altea has very much organic sympathies, or it behaves very much that a human would behave. I said it by accident. I was thinking about emotions that slipped out by accident. I should instead say that he behaves the way that an organic typically would, or rather, he behaves more specifically the way that a functioning human who has emotional intelligence would, right? Because cats, dogs, birds, mammals, they're all organic beings as well, but a cat or a dog is never going to emotionally sympathize, or not sympathize, but read the room in the way that Altea is, right? So what's going on right here is that Horaji set up Shinjuku so that it looks, I shouldn't say imposing. The word that they use is atmospheric. And what do they mean by atmospheric? Well, to use the features to their benefit. So where they're working with Kaiju-like Digimon. Usually when Kaiju appears in films, what time do they usually appear? What time of the day? Well, usually it's very early in the morning, or it's beginning to become what's the word? Sunset. The sun's starting to set, or it's in the middle of the night, right? In other words, to reiterate, or rather to emphasize what I'm trying to highlight, is that these Kaiju typically don't appear in the daytime. They're not going to be appearing in the morning hours nor in the afternoon. But that's not a hard case, right? Like, for example, one scene, Godzilla Minus One, the climax of the film is during the daytime, during the morning period, around 11 in the morning, I believe that it was, into the afternoon. So, again, it's not a hard rule to follow, but typically when one wants to create a specific kind of atmosphere, it's done at nighttime, right? So that's cool. It shows that Horaji knows how to have a little bit of fun. They are doing a battle. They are working together as colleagues and peers But when I have a little bit of fun, well, one can, right? Let's use these features and have it set as the backdrop. Nighttime Shinjuku would be the nighttime backdrop for this battle with two giant Digimon. Beyond that, of course, Cool Boy, the fact that he says that's fascinating, we now know that's his way to ignore, or not to ignore, but to avoid the fact that he's actually at a loss. He may not have a conclusion for right now, or maybe he's a bit confused, and that's my cat again. She's being a menace. She knocked over a pen this time. I was inside my cup and her tail knocked it over from the side. Anywho, and then lastly, of course, we talked about Otia and how Otia is able to pick up on the fact that Haraji is unaware about a specific matter, a specific detail. That detail might upset Haraji, and so why not just keep that to himself for right now? So really cool passage. I did appreciate this passage being at the very start. I just appreciated it because I was worried that it would just start with the battle, but I liked that we had some conversation before the actual battle began. The next quote, I'm so sorry. So this is at the end of the battle. Victorious, Otia, and Epsimon have brought peace back to Shinjuku and also earned an unexpected apology from Haraji. It's fine. I don't need an apology. No, it was disgraceful to belittle you on the basis of you being an AI and the garden's caretaker. Forgive me, for a researcher who studies digital life forms, not only that, but also and also a fellow debugger, those words are not acceptable. Haraji perfectly straightened out his hunched back, then bent his head down, making a full right angle at the waist in a deeply apologetic bow. Otia looked at Epsimon in bewilderment. Otia had considered the matter settled since he had already raised his objection to the insult and shown a superior strength in battle. Still, it was good that Haraji had seriously reflected on his own words and offered an apology. I like this because I think it says a lot about Haraji. Again, as it's stated right here, there really was no need for Haraji to apologize, but despite there being no need, Haraji still makes the choice to do so because he wants to make it clear that he understands that that Otea is not just a machine, that Otea is not just a digital life form, but Otea is a functioning individual, essentially. And so what better way to acknowledge that than by saying that I did make a mistake. I know this battle was meant to make everything clear between us, but I do want to acknowledge that you defeated me because obviously you're more than just a robot, and I want to acknowledge that indeed you are more than just a robot, and I apologize for what I said in my earlier statement. Right, so again, it may not have been needed, as Otia points out, but the fact that Haraji, for all we know, maybe he felt the same way, that it was not needed, but for the personal connection, as he points out, for the fact that he's supposed to be a researcher, he should know better, and beyond that, emotionally, he should also know better because he's a debugger, a fellow debugger. I like how Haraji essentially makes it personal, and I think he makes it personal in a positive manner that demonstrates that Haraji is able to grow and mature as an individual. I like this because at first, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't the biggest fan, just because usually in these kind of stories, it's the older characters who are like having different cultural, not standards, but they have different cultural norms, or because they grew up with like different settings in terms of social standards. So yeah, usually it's like older characters where this is made fun of, but one mustn't forget that young individuals could also fall into that pitfall because of the environment that they're being raised in, or because they might be going a bit being unaware about the full contextual details about a given situation or person, right? But even though if it is sometimes older individuals, there's also a misconception that older individuals cannot grow, that they're set in their ways, and that is it. And this shows that that's not necessarily true, that if one is willing to self-reflect and one is willing to be aware, pardon me, I can't move the laptop, then one is going to be good to go, right? So I like this passage a lot because it says so much about Haraji, and also says pretty much a lot about Otea, because we see that Otea, despite being an AI, he's not grateful. He's not anything like, what was that AI's name from the Marvel Avengers movie? Ultron. Ultron, right? I would argue that Ultron was a little bit arrogant and cocky in the way that he spoke with his peers and colleagues. But yeah, the last quote is actually the last portion. I decided to have it right here instead of going to the article itself, not the article, but the chapter itself. In any case, if we are to continue protecting the Mykenimon, it will be a heavy responsibility. It will be wise to do more in-depth research. Absolutely. I trust I can count on your collaboration. Yes, of course, you betcha. Otea exchanged a glance at the enthused partner and gave a little nod. Of course, the research will continue, and AI never ceases to compute, after all. Perhaps the researchers will find a way to reconcile and integrate the natural and artificial sides of Mykenimon. If so, the data unit might also help Otea in his endeavor to build closer relationships with the colleagues he was coming to like so much. to be continued. So I think this is cool because obviously we're seeing that Oteya, it seems like from a superficial perspective, Oteya is done learning, that it's done adapting, that he's done adapting to the relationships that he's expected to engage and interact with. But we see that's not necessarily the case, that he's looking forward to learning how to continue to develop more emotionally, become more emotionally intelligent in order to develop and strengthen, reinforce the current bonds that Oteya has. I think that's really cool because that's true for anyone, even organic beings. Just because we've matured and we reached a certain point or time in our lives where we're supposed to be, excuse me guys, she's really being a menace today. Wow, that time it was my chapstick. So I have my chapstick standing upright. Obviously, maybe I should not do that next time. Anyway, thank you for your patience. As I was saying, although we might be, like, for example, maybe we feel like, oh, I'm 18, now I'm an adult. Oh, I'm 21, now I'm an adult. Oh, I'm 28, 38, 48, whatever it may be, right? We're always going to be constantly changing and growing. So that last sentence, to help Oteya and his endeavor to build closer relationships with the colleagues is coming to like so much. Any rational individual, any emotionally healthy individual, they're always going to be doing something in this manner. Maybe it won't be at the forefront, as in they're not going to be thinking to ourselves, in what way can I continue moving forward with my relationships, right? Rather, one is, again, emotionally intelligent. They'll realize, oh, when I offer to pay for one of my friends or my other friend, I forgot to consider that my other friend came from a working class background. I may have made them feel excluded by accident, right? Maybe in the future, I'll keep into account who I am that I'm with. And maybe if I don't want to offer to purchase something for everyone, maybe I won't purchase at all for anyone, just keep it to myself. I think that's a bit of a nuanced example, maybe too nuanced, but hopefully that example makes sense. So again, this passage I think says a lot about Oteya, and I'm looking forward to learning more about Haraji, Oteya, and the rest of the debugging team. So I do have to say, if one has seen my videos about the comic portion, I have to say that my feelings are kind of still the same for this as well. I am kind of getting I am feeling like the battles are starting to feel a bit redundant, and I'm wanting more of a narration to start coming up in the stories. With that being said, though, personally for me, I think between the comic and the novel portion, I do like, or rather, I'm able to engage more smoothly with the novel portion. I think that's because I think because it's being forced to use words instead of pictures. I like how it's described, and I like the dialogue and everything like that. I still like the comics. As I say right now in the comics, I kind of feel like we're kind of hitting a stagnation where we really don't know what the story is going to be. And I feel like most of the main story is actually occurring, or maybe I'm wrong about that, to reread the beginning portions. But I feel like for right now, where we're at right now, the board pieces that's going to move the story forward is being set up in the debug portion. Despite the story not moving forward, I am really loving these characters. I do like Oteya. I don't think I'll be a fan of him because I'm not usually a fan of like inorganic characters and stuff like that. I mean, I'll tolerate them. I won't dislike them. I'm usually more neutral. Maybe that's not necessarily true. Like, for example, I do love R2D2 and he's organic. But I can't think of any other examples at the top of my head. But essentially, I don't have like any favorite quote-unquote robotic characters. But Oteya is turning out to be really awesome. Or maybe not awesome, maybe that's a bit too early to say that, but at the very least, a very fun character. And I can say the same thing about Haraji as well. To be frank, I can say the same thing about the introductions of all these characters within Liberator. I'm actually kind of missing Yuki and Rinwar. I thought for sure they were going to be like the quote-unquote protagonists, the main characters for the debug portion of the story, but essentially I was wrong about that. But I don't mind that at all because this is obviously a big symbol that the writing team is working with. Anyway, so thank you so much for listening, everyone. I really do appreciate it. My question for everyone for this video is going to be, I think I asked this before, but I'm going to go ahead and ask it again. Which one are you enjoying more, debug or the comic portion? I guess to make this more specific, is the comic portion just called Liberator? I always just assumed it was called Digimon Liberator. You got the comic and then the novel portion. But anyway, which again, to reiterate my question, which one are you enjoying more right now? The debugging portion or the novel portion or the webcomic portion, the quote-unquote Liberator portion? Thank you so much for listening / watching, everyone. I hope you all have a prodigious day. As always, I appreciate your patience. My lips are getting a bit dry, so let me go ahead and pick up my chapstick and drink a cup of water as well, and hydrate and refresh myself. And excuse me if I'm seeming a little bit wonky. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit addled in the brain right now. It's been a long week for me and early morning. Take care, everyone, and again, I hope you have a prodigious day.